Paulie says he's got stat of the year coming up, not stat of the day. Oh, you folded the paper.
It's that good.
Okay. Do I do this before I get to Chris Fowler?
No, I don't think we make Chris wait.
Really?
Chris is a busy guy. He's got a big job on Monday.
He's got a big job this weekend as well. He's doing the U.S. Open. He's got the men's and women's finals this weekend. And then he makes his Monday night debut. Then that will be alongside Kirk Herbstreit for the Steelers and the Giants as Chris Fowler joins us. Chris, how are you today?
I would have waited, Dan. First of all, you sound like you were excited about something, and then you were less excited when I was coming on. So I would have taken a back seat.
Okay, all right. Well, then I'm going to give you the stat of the day. Paulie, do you want to do this so Chris Fowler can decide if this is stat of the day?
I'd like to set up and you to read it. You're a better presenter. But I was watching the replay of the Super Bowl a couple weeks ago, and Jimmy Garoppolo had outplayed Mahomes for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see the stats for both quarterbacks through the first 3.5 quarters of the Super Bowl.
Okay.
You have it.
18 to 22 for Garoppolo, completing 81% of his passes, 195 yards per attempt, 9, touchdown, interception. Quarterback rating, which I hate, 99.8%. Mahomes, 18 to 29, 62%, 172, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and his quarterback rating was just under 50%. So we proved that Jimmy Garoppolo was really good, except for when they needed him to be really good, and then Mahomes was really good when they needed him to be really good. Okay. And there is your stat of the day. See, Chris, aren't you glad that you waited for that?
I liked it. I like it.
Okay.
You sometimes forget the performances that were great in big stages when the team didn't win. But Mahomes deserves the credit he got. So,
did you do any of his games when he was in college?
We didn't cover Texas Tech when he was there. They were just kind of on the edge of the radar in terms of the biggest game of the week. So I wish I watched him on TV running around. Can't say I saw this when he was a Red Raider, but no, I wish I covered him in college.
Yeah, I would come in on Mondays and I would tell these guys, I had no idea how good he was going to be. I just said he's the most fascinating guy because it looks like he's in the backyard. And, you know, when the quarterback just points for you to go over a certain place, and they played Oklahoma State, and I went, the first half was like 41 to 38 or something crazy. And I went, I don't know if the guy can play next level, but he is as entertaining as anybody I've seen in college football.
I think fans love it when the rigid structure of football, the regimentation gets tossed out the window and a guy's just out there being an athlete. I think we're seeing that, whether it's Lamar Jackson, whether it's Baker Mayfield, not that they can't operate in the structure, but Manziel, when he was in college, same kind of player. We love it when these improv guys just throw out the window all the rigidity of football sometimes.
Now, there's a few things I want to talk to you about because obviously you cover college football, you cover tennis, you got Monday Night Football with you and Herbie. Let me start with college football. Ryan Day put out a statement basically saying, help us. How can we play football here? Does the Big Ten play football in the fall?
What do you call the fall? I mean, I think it might be ambitious to try to do it at Thanksgiving. I'm so confused by the whole thing. I mean, everybody's confused. He's confused. He's been frustrated from the start, as a lot of the coaches have been. And when you see coaches speaking out against the leadership of the school, that's not normal stuff. It takes pretty radical circumstances to make those guys be not on the same page as the leadership of the conference or the school. I think that they got to do something, but it's going to be so weird, Dan. The playoff, assuming we can continue with this season, fingers crossed, is going to be unfolding in the Big Ten. Perhaps the Pac-12 are going to be kind of cranking things up to play for a conference championship, but not be a part of the. I can't wrap my head around it.
But you're planning on handing out a national championship trophy, right?
I don't do it personally, the handing out. I plan on being in the booth if there's a bracket, but it's going to be the oddest bracket. I mean, I think a lot of sports, you can't say there's an asterisk attached to it. To me, no asterisk at all attached to the NBA champion, the NHL champion, what's going on over here at the U.S. Open. When you put up with all this stuff that we put up as a planet, and you've survived that, handled the mental wear and tear, and won, you got the trophy in your hands, no asterisk. But college football is weird. I don't want to disrespect the effort because I think those players have put up with all the same stuff and dealt with a lot of obstacles as well. But when half the conferences are playing and some are playing later in the year, I don't know what to make of it. I mean, there's going to be a playoff bracket, though. There's too much money at stake not to be at this point.
Yeah, and I felt that way. Like the Pac-12, it doesn't feel like they're going to even attempt to do the fall. The Big Ten still wants to try, because Ryan Day's got a national championship caliber team and doesn't want to miss out on this opportunity. And if you play in the spring, it's glorified scrimmages there, and they want revenue, they want the prestige there. And then you look at the Big 12, the ACC, and the SEC, and what do they know that these other conferences don't know, or what do they choose not to know that these other conferences know? So that's
a good question. They have different experts. If you ask enough medical experts, you will find some that tell you what you want to hear.
Yes.
I hope the medical experts advising those conferences know what they're doing, and they're right. I'm not going to lie to you. When I see the plans to put 25,000 fans in some of these college stadiums, I know we're going to be on the campuses calling the games. Like, okay, well, I'm going to be really careful when I go there. That's for sure.
You are calling the U.S. Open, the men's and women's final. That'll be coming up this weekend. Let me ask you first about Novak Djokovic here with what happened. I know you weren't calling that, but what do you see in that moment, and did Djokovic deserve to be tossed from the tournament?
Yeah, because rules are rules, and they either apply to him and everyone, or they apply to no one. They showed guts. Reminded me of the Derby. When maximum security crosses the line, people thought they're never going to take down the winning Derby horse. They've never done it before. Then the stewards went and made a decision that they would have made at any other race in a lesser event. And they did the same thing with Novak. I mean, if you're ranked 100 or you're ranked number 1 and you hit a ball that hits a woman in the Adam's apple, I mean, incredibly unlucky. You could do that 1,000 times and not hit her in the throat and have her go down. And if he didn't hit her, he's going to get away with it. It's just going to be a fine. But the fact that it did strike her, you got to toss him out. They gave him 10 minutes to talk about it on the court. Had there been a crowd there, the crowd would have been going insane.
I know.
It's a clear-cut decision. He snapped. And I think, we all got to be compassionate and understanding. Everybody, whether you're in a bubble or out of the bubble, we're all going through this in our own way. Novak, remember, was a COVID positive test. And he had other guys test positive from that tournament that he put together in Serbia with no mask and no distancing. It's been a tough summer for him. That's not excusing it. He's responsible for that action, but yeah, they had to toss him out.
I was sorry to see Serena get bounced there, because I'm fascinated with her legacy. Like, I don't know who rivals her in any sport with her accomplishments. I don't know. Do we undersell what Serena's done in some way, shape, or form, Chris?
I mean, I live in it all the time in the tennis world, so maybe we take it for granted too much. In 15 days, Dan, she's going to be 39. I think what stings about the loss last night was that, this U.S. Open field was missing some key contenders, including some women that would have been major challengers for her. With them not in the field, with her so close to the final and a rematch with Osaka, and then to be outplayed the last set and a half, I think she's going to be deeply disappointed in that. She didn't play a bad tournament, and she didn't play a bad match last night. Azarenka just came off the canvas after Serena was throwing haymakers in the first set, and she turned the match around. All credit to her. But yeah, when you view it through the Serena lens, it stings. It doesn't diminish anything that she's accomplished, though. I mean, to me, she's still, the greatest women's tennis player of all time.
You got Monday Night Football. How do you approach Monday Night Football differently than you would? Oh, is that your?
I have my chart.
Okay. Yeah. How is that different, though, from what you would normally do? Like, you're going to prepare the same way, knowing you.
Yeah, it's different, though. I mean, I got to get up to speed in the rules. I mean, there's fewer players in the roster. It should be easier, except what you don't have to deal with in college football is the roster fluidity of the NFL. Like, I had a chart 2 weeks ago. I'm ahead. I'm prepared. All of a sudden, they start making cuts and free agent signings. I mean, the Giants' secondary is totally different than it looked 2 weeks ago, and that's a key weakness in the team. So it's going to be fun. I mean, Kirk and I, Maria, it's a one-off. Never called an NFL game, so why not do it with quarantine conditions, Zoom, no practice, on the back of 2 Grand Slam finals? Let's just really pile it on. We're going to have a good time. I mean, we're not the Monday night team, and I think Steve Levy and Louis Riddick and Brian Griese will have a great season. But we're going to jump in there once, and now I can say I've called an NFL game, and we're going to have a good time with it. Did
you want the Monday night job?
No. I'm really happy with what I'm doing. I feel like I call the Super Bowl every year. I've got 32 3 years now in college football. It's the 25th consecutive season that Kirk and I have worked together in the fall.
Wow.
Think about that.
Wow.
Whether it's game day or the booth.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what I want to do. So, I mean, obviously you don't say no to opportunities, and it's kind of what a coach would say when he's got options. But I love what I'm doing, man. I've always sort of loved college football more than anything else.
The rule aspect is interesting. Like, what are some of the rules that you had to kind of get refreshed in your memory?
I don't even know if I have enough time between now and Monday night to understand what a catch is in the NFL. I mean, right? You could write a book on that and people wouldn't get it. But no, just the replay rules. They're always tweaking things, and you want to be really conversant. I'll do the best I can. I mean, the rules is a really challenging aspect because it's not about thinking about it and remembering what they said in the seminar and going to the book. You got to know it like that. And when you see people, like Al Michaels and Buck and those guys who do this for a long time, it's second nature to them. And I'll do the best I can, but I hope there's not a bunch of crazy stuff that happens that are the most obscure rules in the fine print on page 903. That would be my worst case scenario.
I hear you're getting into the podcast world.
I am. The call will come for you sooner or later.
Oh, no. Yeah.
No, it's Jennifer, my wife, and I are co-producers on this. We're working together, collaborating. It's not a sports podcast, but it is going to have a lot of sports people in it. And episode 1 will drop. Do you say drop?
Yeah.
Is that what you do in a podcast? Is
somebody
it like a single?
Just dropped something right there, didn't they?
Someone was dropped off camera. It was Jennifer dropping the remote. Yeah. No, I think that we have Willie Geist, our buddy Rich Eisen, Maria Taylor, Jeremy Schaap. So the first podcast is about interviews that went well, interviews that went awful, that were awkward and cringy, and some of them that were triumphant. And it's just people talking about people talking. And it's a double album. It's like an hour and a half. So if anybody wants to wade through it, I think will be entertained.
Yeah, I don't know if you get to me if you're still doing awkward interviews, but my Tanya Harding interview is one for the ages. One for the ages. That
we all have those for the ages, though, don't we? I mean, Eminem is my worst interview. I tell a story about interviewing Eminem in there, and that is it's hard to be worse than that. But Tanya, I'm sure gave you a run.
How did that go, though, with Eminem? Because I saw him in the booth with Brent and Herbie, and it looked like he was kind of playing them a little bit. What went wrong?
He was kind of playing them a lot, yeah. Mine was a long time ago when he was just an emerging artist. I don't want to spoil the story because I get the way it unfolds is interesting, but it was 100% our fault, 0% his fault. But that didn't stop him from getting really angry. And it never aired, Dan. That's how bad it was.
Oh,
it was on tape and it never aired. And thank God it never aired.
Do you have it?
God, no. I hope it was bulk erased. But I have the uncomfortable memory of it, And
yeah, there are times when Paulie will bring up something and you go, then they'll bring back, Tanya Hart. I squirm, like I start to sweat because it was.
Was it on this show or was it a sit down?
Oh, no, it was on the show when I was at the mothership, and we had her on, and boy, it went sideways quickly.
Well, that'll have to be a whole nother episode. We'll have to do part 2. You can get on and tell the whole time. I want to hear that story.
Have fun.
There's also a story. The weirdest story in it is that Burt Reynolds and I had a feud late in his life, and he punched me once at the ESPYs backstage at Radio City. I'll lay it out, but it was one of the odder situations that's ever happened. Burt was convinced that I said something about him. I did not. Somebody else may have. It was a mistaken identity thing. And I tell that story too because, Did
he punch you in the face?
I mean, he did not punch me in the face. He punched me hard in the shoulder. Paul Wrecking Crew from the Mean Machine or Smokey, whatever you like, Cannonball. Right? He threw a mean right hand in the dark, and I thought he was joking, and he was not joking. But yeah, that's in there too.
Judging by the way you're jacked down, look at you. What's going on here, Chris?
I'm natural, as they say, Dan. I like to work out. It's been quarantine. What else is there to do?
Okay. All right. Well, I know your wife used to work out on TV. Are you finally listening to her?
Good advice wherever you get it is good. Yeah. It's,
look at that. Put up one of the guns there, Chris. Come on.
No, we will not do that.
Come on.
We're not going to
Come on.
Dan, you're not getting me to do that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Have fun this weekend and certainly on Monday night. And please tell your wife I said hello.
She says hi back. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be like a once in a career kind of thing. And I'm just going to roll with it and try to have a good time and not be stressed. And I think we'll have a blast on Monday, even in an empty house.
Do you have a... Hi!
Jennifer says
hi. Hi, Jen. Do you have a weight belt, Chris?
It's in the closet. I don't use a weight belt.
All right. Good luck. Thank you, bud.
Yeah, buddy.
That's Chris Fowler, ESPN college football tennis host. He's got the U.S. Open coming up this weekend.